Elimination match in a huge tournament. Everyone is playing their hearts out, except for one teammate who seems to be lacking in effort. You're on break, down on score, and an argument breaks out. It's over your teammate's poor performance. If only you had a conflict resolution tool to stop your team's mental strength from going out the door. Hi everyone! As you might have been able to tell, today we'll be looking at some conflicts between teammates in competitive team sports. Cohesion and teamwork is super important when working in high-stress environments, especially in team sports. Conflicts are very likely to arise in such environments and can be an important factor in winning or losing a match. We're going to be taking a look at some common conflicts that can arise between teammates and then follow these up with our thesis. Then we'll take a look at some real-world situations of teammate conflicts and solutions using a specific therapy method used to manage conflicts in team sports. With all of that information, we'll explain our visors and why it can be beneficial in resolving conflicts in sports. So let's take a look at some common conflicts that could arise between teammates in a team sport. There could be large skill gaps between teammates, or different communication styles. One teammate could have a lack of communication, or we could just have ineffective or toxic even communication that pops up for someone. Someone could be trying to be very perfect in their gameplay, or someone could be playing for different objectives or goals while they're playing in comparison to the rest of the team. One teammate could be perceiving a lack of effort from another teammate, which can rise in a conflict. Or someone just might have limited ability to regulate their emotions. Perhaps a teammate just doesn't rely on their team enough. Or there's just general intra-team criticism. A lot of these conflicts can be detrimental to the team's mental fortitude, especially if they go unaddressed. This leads us over to our thesis. Our thesis revolves around conflicts between teammates, and how these conflicts can negatively affect team chemistry in and out of the match. We think that providing coaches with a way to identify and resolve conflicts both in the moment and as a preventative measure can be used to reduce the overall number of conflicts between teammates in sports and improve team chemistry. Obviously, for the scope of our presentation, it wouldn't be realistic to try and cover decision-making for every single possible conflict, even if we could find them all. Thus, we decided to focus on including conflict management strategies included in acceptance and commitment therapy for team sports. We built up our resource based on ACT as a concept for how the real resource would be developed. Now, we'll look to provide some context through real-world scenarios of conflicts between teammates.
So now I'm going to talk about some examples in the real world. When talking about motorsport, people are now tend to think it as a team sport, but it actually is. For example, in Formula 1, there are 10 teams on the grid and 2 drivers for each team. But each team have to build their own cars, maintain their own cars. So there are actually 400 plus engineers and mechanics in each team. And each team has a team principal, who is kind of like a manager / coach for the team, who gives technical and tactical orders and make decisions for the team. During a race, 2 drivers on the same team are supposed to help each other to score more points, basically try to finish first. However, it doesn't always happen. The rivalry between teammates could end up very ugly sometimes. As you can see in the pictures, on the left-hand side, that's Daniel Ricciardo crashing out Max Verstappen from the Red Bull team. And on the right-hand side is Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton crashing out each other. Now let's look at an incident from the Red Bull team. The current Formula 1 World Champion Max Verstappen won his 2-time World Championships with the help of his teammate Sergio Perez. But when asked to do the same for his teammate, Max refused. During the race in Brazil in early November, the Red Bull team race engineer asked Max 3 times over the radio, "Let Checo through, please." At this time, Max Verstappen was already the world champion. He doesn't need any more points. Yet he still refused the request from his team engineer. Later, Sergio Perez thanks his engineer for the request and said, "This incident shows what kind of person Verstappen really is."
Hey guys, I'm going to be addressing some of our solutions, and Bruce has already given us some interesting conflicts to address here. So there's a long list of potential solutions that we can combine into our resource, but I'll go over a few of these. So first off, these are partially inspired by a thing called ACT, which is Acceptance and Commitment Therapy. And it's kind of like mindfulness, and it's become a little bit more popular in sports psychology. And I'll tell you why it comes up in some of our potential solutions. Now, here's the thing. For handling these conflicts on these teams, there's two things. There's prevention solutions and there's in the moment solutions. And prevention solutions can be used for the team to potentially avoid some conflicts, or it can be used after a situation happens so that we can reflect on what went wrong and hopefully solve this conflict. So some potential prevention solutions are, well, we can reflect on previous conflicts. We can do team building exercises. And I read an interesting article about a League of Legends sports team that very much emphasized team cohesion along with ACT. And they use team cohesion to try and prevent conflicts. So things like team building exercises, enhancing empathy among teammates, getting to know your teammates better so that you understand them a little bit better, have better chemistry, making it so that members will acknowledge your own weaknesses, so they'll be a little less likely to see as many flaws in other people, or they'll identify their own flaws, and that'll help prevent some conflicts. And as we've learned from Bruce's examples, emphasizing the importance of roles is incredibly important. And doing this will help people put the team above the individual. And that is essential for preventing some conflicts. But some in the moment things, focus back on that mindfulness in ACT. And one thing my article does is it really goes into refocusing on the game plan, refocusing on the current moment, refocusing on exactly what's going on and what you are contributing instead of getting caught up in these conflicts. This can help people let things go and focus back on the moment. And the last thing maybe to consider is that effective communication, and not just communication that this is what you should say, but what you probably shouldn't say in the moment here is important, because the last thing we want is people attacking others' self-concept when things are getting dicey or high pressure. So I would say this, it's about attacking the play, not the player.
So our flowchart aims to define actionable steps for a subset of conflicts that coaches may see in their team members' experiences. We provide both in-the-moment solutions and preventative/reflective solutions based on acceptance and commitment therapies principles. This flowchart should be used by a coach who's interested in adhering to ACT principles to use it as a guiding diagram. Since ACT has growing interest in the sports psychology literature and seems to be effective at resolving interpersonal conflicts according to this sports psychology research, we expect this group of coaches who want to adopt ACT to be large. In that case, this flowchart acts as, again, a guide for them to enforce actionable steps upon the conflicts they see in their day-to-day. A coach's first step would be to ask in which way they can address their conflict. Can they currently call a break? Is it like within a game? Can they call a break, right? If not, then they have to view reflective and preventative solutions they'd use afterwards. If so, then they can view our in-the-moment solutions or solution guides. The next step is to identify the broad category of the conflict that they face. Currently, we have 4 broad categories of conflicts that they may see like in the games that they play. So some of them may be like different communication styles or perfectionism or inconsistent objectives, or there may be a limited ability to regulate one player's emotions. And in each of those situations, you may want to apply ACT in a different way. And we provide actionable steps to do that in both a in-the-moment context and a preventative and reflective-based solution. Again, this flowchart is sort of meant to be a guide for the coach's thought process. They still have to take the solution that we provide, specify it to the conflict they're facing, and execute the solution well.
We provide broad ideas and suggestions, but conflict management can never be discretized into a decision tree that doesn't consider case-by-case bases.